Welcome to the Fearless Females Voice podcast, where women's stories and experiences are shared in order to empower and inspire others. Before we begin the podcast, I wanted to let you know that there is a free Becoming Fearless test on my website, which takes less than 5 minutes to complete. This test will show you how fearless you are and give you some great tips and techniques at the end to improve your score. You can check it out on www.fearlessfemales.me. On this podcast, I am joined by Zuzana Hyniova, who I had the pleasure of being mentored by in my previous workplace. Zuzana is an engineer by trade and has overcome challenges, built her career, and is now in a senior leadership position. When I worked as an engineer, there were hardly any women working in the industry, so seeing a woman climb up and lead the engineering team was a great inspiration. On this podcast, Zuzana tells us how she built her career, how she dealt with imposter syndrome, what makes a great leader, what it's like working in a male-dominated workplace, and the benefits of diversity. She also shares some of the challenges which she faced and the sacrifices she had to make in order to get to where she is now. I love speaking to Zuzana again, and I'm sure that you will also love the listen. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. So Zuza, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And it's been great because you were my mentor when I worked at Mars, and I've seen you when you first started. And I've also kind of been there seeing how your journey's gone through Mars and how you've come into your leadership position, which has been really inspiring. So can we start off by telling me, what does being a fearless female mean to you?
You know, I would not necessarily say fearless. For me, fearless is a very strong word, because everyone has their fears, and what fearless is, if I can twist it a little bit, is to be okay with your fears, to be just okay that there will be issues, and there will be failures, and there will be time that you will feel terrible about something, or you will not be able to do something or succeed at something, and that's okay. Maybe it's more, for me, it's about kind of the acceptance of the fact that that's life and that's normal life. Yeah.
No, I like that. And I completely agree with that as well. Everyone has a different definition of what fearless is, but I completely agree. It's how you deal with situations that are thrown at you and also accepting them as well. So yes, you're right. Everyone will feel fears and everyone has their ups and downs. So Zuza, you have had an extremely striving engineering career, and it was a pleasure to see you join. It was very briefly, we crossed paths whilst I was at Mars. You were my mentor. And I'd like to know more about how you got to where you are now.
It's been a journey. Definitely, it's been a long journey. So I have spent my entire career in engineering. So I have worked in different roles in now 2 different companies. I spent more than 11 years in one, and now a year and a half or so in another, but always in engineering. So I kind of grew with that. Yeah, I studied at a university that was technical. So my major was in chemistry, not necessarily engineering, but I was looking for a type of job that would combine the technical element and the people element. I could not picture myself working in a lab or doing research kind of on my own. That's just not who I am. That just wouldn't work for me. So it was a very nice opportunity at the time to start in engineering, and I came like a really blank sheet of paper, completely, new and fresh, and started from there. So just building through there, I have really enjoyed in the beginning just learning about what engineering was, and the combination with the project management element of it, and working with people and in an international environment, etc., and kind of grew from there. So I don't have I think one word or one sentence for it. It's been just a long journey as going forward, and I really love to learn things and develop and continue to progress in what I do. So that's kind of how I have been building. For me, it's been very like step by step, kind of gradual. This is where I am now. Yeah.
Okay, good. And as we know, there's not many women in engineering. I've obviously experienced that myself, and you've experienced that as well. So can you tell us, what's it like being a female in the world of engineering?
Yeah, it is not easy sometimes. And I remember I have very strong recollection of even my first like month or something like that I joined the started working, and I was in a room, the only woman in a room full of guys of different seniorities, experience, and so on, full of guys. And I was thinking, wow, this is how it's going to be. Wow, this is really strange, because I was not used to that at all. And I cannot tell you how many times since then, which is now 13 years of my career, I have been in that situation. And so you kind of get used to it over time, but still it feels, from my point of view, that we really are a long way in terms of bringing the diversity, more diversity in engineering in general. So it has been difficult at times. It becomes kind of strangely normal, and I don't like the fact that it becomes normal, because you just get used to it,
Yeah.
And if I look at my last role, so I have joined the new company that I have worked with. So I have joined Mars last year in January. I come to the team, and I'm the only woman as a manager to a room full of guys. 100% diversity, zero. So that one was a new experience as a line manager, to come into a new role like that. And definitely one of my objectives is to drive diversity. And when I had the opportunity, which was through the graduate program, I was intentionally asking, do we have any ladies in the region that we could bring to get a bit of this type of diversity in the team, because it just wasn't there at all. So it is not easy at times, and you have to find your way through it, I would say. But we definitely need to continue to be very intentional and work on that in terms of even the sheer representation of women, to bring a little bit of diversity there.
Yeah, and engineering isn't the only industry where we see not as many women. So there's many industries which are male dominated, and I feel diversity is very, very important. And I feel companies are now seeing this more and more. So in your opinion, why do you think it is that females bring, or what do they bring to the table?
It's just diversity in general brings and just endless number of benefits, different approaches, different energy, different point of views, and different way of doing things. And for me, if something is 100% female, it's also not really working. There has to be a proper balance. So I would say, if you look at engineering, if I can focus on that, maybe different elements of how to approach the problems, different maybe out of the box or alternative thinking, connecting the dots in a different way. So the functional, let's say, or the technical side of things, different maybe thought process that people may have. And on the personal side of things could be, building the relationships and connecting people, etc. But I hate this kind of bias, which I know there is a conscious and there is unconscious. The fact that you say, oh, because it's a female, or she's going to be fantastic with people, and she's not going to be able to do, I don't know what, she will not have such a deep technical knowledge. And that's just, I don't want to speak in a bad way in the podcast, but it's just absolutely not the right approach, right, for me. So basically combining the elements of what is natural to the people and the level of authenticity for making the best of the team, basically bringing, everyone bringing their bit into this. So diversity for me is really important, not just gender, but overall. If you have you talk about seniority, or you talk about experiences, etc., that also is very, very valuable to bring for me.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's so much that diversity brings to teams. And just to put things into perspective, in your last 11, 12 years of working in engineering, how many women have there been on your team?
So in my previous company, there have been more than there are in the place that I am right now, I would say percentage-wise, but still it has always been a minority. So I would say it was around maybe 10% where I worked before, and now it is single digits. So that's kind of representation. If I look at my team alone, so myself and my peers, then it's higher, but there are not that many of us, right? There are like 2 of us who are female in a team of 6, so that's a bit different, but that's just leadership team within the region. But if I look at the bigger representation, the numbers are definitely lower.
That's it's quite common in the industry. So thanks for sharing. And how I see it is that you started off in your first company and you've worked your way up into now a senior position. And it's very common for people to feel like they don't belong or that they aren't capable. And these kind of thoughts of imposter syndrome tend to hold you back. Is this something that you've experienced?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's, for me, this element of being the only woman in a room brings with it also these kind of questions, in your head, like, can I really say what I'm thinking? Is it really a good thing to say? Is it like, can I express myself? Is it good enough or not? And I heard in the past when I was investigating or learning a bit about gender diversity, that females in general tend to want to know like 90% of it before they say it, whereas the guys, they say 50, 60 and they go for it. Yeah. So it's a matter of how you present yourself. And so that definitely I have experienced that, this feeling of being in a way a little bit intimidated, if I can say, by someone. There is this guy who has been there for 20 years. Oh my God, what can I say I'm not sure, I'm just a junior engineer here, I don't know anything. So this maybe a little bit element probably of the experience as well and the maturity, but for sure an gender element to that as well. Yes.
Do you find that as you've gone on in your career that imposter syndrome has died down, or is it still something you experience even in the senior position that you're in now?
So, in fact, I have a quite recent experience. So just, I was leaving my previous company after more than 11 years. Yeah, so it was a big change for me. It was also combined with a change in location. I was moving into a new country. So yeah, I did all of that you should not do in one go. I did it in one go. New position with direct reports, etc. And before that, so basically in the break, I had like a month and a bit. Yeah, I wanted to take a bit of time off. And in that break, yes, I started to get these kind of thoughts, oh my God, I'm going to go to a new country in a position I've never led this many people before, all guys. Oh my God, how is it going to go? What if it just becomes a complete disaster? So I started to have these kind of thoughts. So definitely it does come at some point. And then, talking to some of my female colleagues, that are my my network, if I can say, in this sense, and they were like, "Oh, come on, you're gonna do just fine," and just bringing me a little bit into a different mindset. So that's probably the last time that I would say I really felt it very, very strongly, just before. And this element of unknown, right? What's going to happen? How is it going to be? I don't know the company at all. Since then, I mean, at times, yes, but I wouldn't say anything significant. At times, yes, it's kind of like a thought here and there. Okay, is it really, am I really going to be good enough for whatever it is that I need to do next, sort of thing? Yeah. But I just go ahead with it, and so I deal with it in a way. So yeah.
No, that's good. And it's interesting that you made so many changes in one go. That sounds really scary. You said you moved to a new country, got yourself a new role. It was a different type of role in a sense that you're managing and leading a team as well, more senior position, new company. It sounds like there was a lot going on. And outside of feeling a little bit of imposter syndrome and fear of the unknown, what else was going on? How did you manage that change? Because it sounds like a lot of sacrifice as well. You going from one place to another. Personally, it's a big change.
Yeah, so I was feeling really ready. I was feeling really ready for the next step, and I was looking for a change in my career journey, let's say, and in my life in general. I was working in UK at the time, and I felt like I wanted to be closer to my family that is Central Europe, in the Czech Republic. So it was a combination of elements, that made me take the decision that I have taken in terms of this role. And how I have dealt with the change was just sort of get on with it, just go and do it. I think there was not really any kind of particular plan. So just take it one step at a time, one day at a time. So I go and I start, and then I take it from there. So probably that's the answer. I have, to be honest, I have had a very difficult time when we had the COVID lockdown, etc., because I was in a new country, in a new place. I did not know anybody, and there was a lot of unknown from this external whole situation, right? I didn't know when I would be able to see my family, if I would be able to see my family. I didn't know what was going to happen at all. So that was a very difficult period in the first lockdown, because there were not really any rules defined, nothing. It was just, you don't know what's going to happen. So that was a difficult one for me, I would say. After that, it kind of settled in a way. I was really, really happy to be able to see my family again after the 5-6 months that I was here. And then it just, step by step, sort of gradually went on. Yeah.
No, I think you took the best form of thing to actually manage change, which is just keep going and take action. So you actually just dived right into it, which is great to hear. And it helped you because you overcame it and you were able to come out the other side as well. And it's interesting, you talked about being ready for a move. Now, many people, women, let's say, are in a career that they may or may not like, but don't feel that they're ready for a promotion. Maybe they're too afraid of that next step. How did you know that you were ready?
So I felt like I was ready for a change. I was not necessarily searching in particular for this type of role. That happened sort of by accident, if I can say. So that was something that I was offered when I posted on the, update my LinkedIn profile, and I have became, tick this one, I'm interested in the new position, searchable by recruiters, etc. So I was not particularly searching for a people management or line management role. I felt like I was ready for a change and leaving the company, because I felt like I was not really progressing much in what I was doing, and not necessarily in terms of a role, more in terms of my personal growth. And I really like to learn new things and do new things. And I felt like it was kind of getting the same, after these years. And then this position came and was offered, and I went for it, and here I am. But I would not say I was necessarily searching for this particular one. So how I got ready, if that was your question, or why did I feel ready? How did I feel ready?
How did you feel ready?
So I had, in that company, I spent a long time there, more than 11 years. And after, I don't know how many years it was, 8 or 9 or something like that, I got into a very difficult period, and I had a sort of burnout situation, kind of. And I had to stop working for 3 months or so, completely. And that has completely reshuffled my priorities in my life, completely. And I have, since then, I have lost a big part of the loyalty for the company, to be honest. And I have really thought like, okay, I will take it more like as it comes, whatever role comes now in the next, as a next step, and I can always leave. If I'm not feeling like this is right for me, which before was unimaginable. I was joining the company like, this is so fantastic, I have like millions of opportunities, it's a multinational, I can do anything I want, I can stay for 50 years or whatever. That was my mindset before. But after, it was completely different, and I was okay, my health is the most important, and I want to do something interesting, and I want to learn new things and do new things, because I really enjoyed that. But if I'm not feeling like it's going the right way, I will just leave. So that was probably the starting point. And then I continued, and then I received an offer for an assignment internationally. So I took it. It was again something new experience, new people, new also type of role. I was also line managing there. And after a while, it has felt like, okay, it is not really progressing much. And I would like to take the next step, and that's where I started to search for other opportunities.
Interesting. And you mentioned this piece about burnout, because burnout is really, I'd say, getting more and more common these days with people who are working in industry and working super long hours. and it's just very intense, all the work that's happening, going on in their, all the things that are going on in their brain. And I find that many women don't look after themselves. That's really common as well, where they're working so hard, they're thriving, they're trying to keep going, self-develop, hit the promotion, hit the targets, hit their goals career-wise, and they neglect themselves. So how did you find that balance, or how do you now balance it?
Yeah, I kind of, I don't know if I'm a good example, because I was just going and going and going until I hit the wall, kind of. Even though there were a lot of warning signs, and my family and my close friends around me were warning me that this is not going in the right way. And I was just going and going and going until I came to the point that I couldn't go anymore, and I had to take a break. So I took a break, a proper one. And it helped me also to reset, of course, physically, but also emotionally, and kind of start fresh with a new mindset. So I have learned the hard way, so I would not recommend it to anyone. I think it's much better to be more proactive in that than to learn this hard way. But it's everything is possible. That's what I can say. If I look back at my previous role before I came here, I was on an expat assignment, which means my contract was back home, and I was in a different country. And that's a very nice assignment, because you get your accommodation paid for, etc. You have very nice benefits within that. There are certain expectations and responsibilities, obviously, that come with the role. And I remember I was leaving one day. I was leaving the office. It was, I don't know, no matter the time. I was leaving the office, and I was locking my laptop in the drawer. And I was walking out, and one of my colleagues was like, "Oh, Zuzana, you're leaving and you're not taking your laptop home in the evening?" I said, "No, I'm not." "So you have your emails in your phone and so on?" "No, I didn't have a company phone at the time." "No, I don't." "Oh," and he was like, "Oh, I must be doing something wrong, because you're an expat and you're able to do this." So I thought, like, okay, well, anything is possible if you arrange it. Yeah. So until now, even though, yes, I work maybe more hours than I would like, I am not working weekends, and I'm not working evenings unless there is an absolute emergency. Never. I don't open it. So I prefer to stay, 6:30 or 7 at times, but then I just don't touch it. And I have my work time and I have my private time. Yeah. And obviously there's further work inside the working hours that you have to organize yourself, etc., to manage your energy. Yeah. But this is something I have not broken, and I don't want to break it. I'm on holiday, I'm not working. Yeah. So, and it is possible. It is possible. Everything just depends on how you organize it. Nobody's, sitting behind you, counting your hours or whatever. That's just not how it works, right? You get your job done. If you leave at 4 p.m., great, good for you. Yeah. So it is really about how you organize it, and being very strict with yourself and setting your own boundaries. And yeah, I'm still kind of learning that, and it has been a journey for me as well. Especially recently with the new role and a lot of responsibilities that I had to kind of find a way how to manage. But yeah, it's possible, really.
It sounds like you've got good balance. It definitely sounds like you've got good balance, because I remember reading Sheryl Sandberg's book Lean In, and she talks about after she had children, and she had to leave work around 5 p.m. But because everybody was still there till 8 p.m., she used to sneak out. She used to try and run out and be like, right, oh my God, I need to get out by 5, make an excuse and somehow leave. But then she realized, actually, I just need to manage expectations and tailor it to me. So then she started making a point of it and telling everyone, I am leaving now. And, I'm doing it because of this reason. And it was okay. So it's almost like just setting that boundary, which is exactly what you've done, which is good. And then you can prioritize yourself as well, have your private time, personal life. It's a good balance to have, because burnout is, from the sounds of what you said, definitely not something anyone should experience or you'd like to experience again.
Absolutely not. Yes, absolutely not.
And when it comes to career building, so I started off as a graduate in engineering, and I always hear, okay, you need to map out the next 5 to 10 years, get a plan going. How have you done this for yourself to get into the position that you're in now?
I'm not sure I'm a good example because I have always taken it a bit like I will I will take whatever comes my way. I'm open to new opportunities. So that's my approach in general. So I don't want to constrain myself in terms of saying I have to be here or I have to be there, sort of like a box type of approach. Yeah, I want to have the opportunities and see where I get. Um, so yes, if I look back at how I was planning my career initially before this burnout that I was talking about, before the difficult period, I was feeling like I want to be the director of engineering, and I had all these big plans of where I want to get and when and so on. And then this was a bit of a wake up call that I had. So after that period, as I said, I completely reevaluated what my ambitions are and what my priorities are. And my only priority, number one, was to be healthy. And in terms of work, to do something that's interesting and that will excite me, that will allow me to use my brain and to do something that's interesting for me. And whatever is the title or role, I don't really mind. Yeah, so that was kind of how I restarted. And in the last in this change that I have done just recently, just a year and a half ago, again, as I described, I did not really have a particular plan. I was kind of open, but I was looking for a role in engineering, yes, because I wanted to stay in engineering and build on the experiences that I already had. And I was open both for any kind of, let's say, role of individual contributor, as we say in Mars, but like a person who is delivering on their own, or even as a line manager. So that for me felt like a natural next step, and a nice balance, of what is the same and different. So the same in a sense that you have done it before and you are building on what you know already, and new enough and different enough that it excites you and you're learning new things and you're growing. So that's how I would say. But I would say it has to be tailored to what works for you. If it works for you that you plan ahead, fantastic, do it. I think it's great to explore opportunities and understand what options you have for your future. Yes, but I wouldn't necessarily constrain in like this is the one and only path that I have. Yeah, because there are a lot of options. Yeah.
So it sounds like the mindset you need to have for this is just to be open-minded and pretty much just kind of accept things that are coming your way as well. If there's something, go and explore it. Have a little browse. And what do you think the importance of networking is with this as well?
I have always, since the beginning of my career, I have really loved to have especially female mentors. And the concept of mentors for me just resonates tremendously. And I have used them. I discovered it in my early days, and I have used them every opportunity I took. And for me, it was really like a friend or a trusted person, and I felt more comfortable with females in general. So I would, if someone felt like they were approachable, like there was a site manager at the time in the factory where I was, who was a lady, I asked her, would you mind to be my mentor? And even some like more senior colleagues, sorry. And I have always had great experiences with that. Whether it was a regular form of mentorship, we are meeting on a regular basis, or it was sort of ad hoc. I remember very well in my very first year, I got my first rating evaluation, and I was like, okay, is it good or not? I have no idea, right? It's never happened to me before. I have zero calibration, zero reference. So I would call my mentor at the time and say, can you explain me? Can you help me understand? This is what I got. So is it good or not? Or like, what does it mean? Yeah. And this kind of perspective has been great. And I have had maybe a few male mentors, but not a lot. I would say one or two, and many female mentors, and they have been great contributors to my general progress in my career, but also in terms of helping me to grow further. Yeah.
I love that. So the importance of a mentor. I agree. Like, I think it's very good to have. It's useful, especially when you're trying to figure things out, get some advice from people who have been there and done that. And yeah, it does help with career building as well. So Zuza, can you tell us what is next for you?
What is next? You're asking me generally speaking, or you're asking me in terms of my career?
Both. Let's hear both.
So it's Well, next I have joined a new company very recently. So I have joined Mars last year in January, and I really like the company, and I really like especially the two elements, if I can say maybe three main elements. This is gonna sound like a commercial a little bit, but okay. Come to Mars. Yeah. One is the continuous focus and intentionality on personal development. So personal development in Mars is a part of your even evaluation and your salary in the end, because it takes part in your yearly rating. And it's amazing. Yeah. And I have joined as a new line manager, and a few months in, I was, let's say, recruited in this training program. It's called Great Line Management. And I look at it, and it's like 9 months. And I was like, wow, 9 months of training. Wow, there's something. I have never seen anything like this in my life. So I was thinking, wow, this company must be really serious about this. So it really, I just finished today. I just finished, and I started in September. Yeah, a training program, and it demonstrates this intentionality of growing people, and it really resonates with me. I really like it. I love to learn new things, and that's just great. And second one is authenticity, and just to be myself, and to be able to kind of open my wings and fly. Yeah. And this concept of like unleashing the potential, I really feel like that where I am right now. Like I'm able to really be myself and be the best me. Yeah. And I have had some trainings and things like that are really focused on like, who are you? Yeah, what are your strengths, and like, who are you really? And I love that. The concept of who are you really? How can you be the best you in what you're doing? For me, that's amazing. So I would like to continue in where I am, in the company that I'm at the moment, and continue to develop and continue to learn and to grow and to do new things and get new experiences. That's probably the most important for me. Yeah.
Love it. And just a quick one, you touched on line management. Can you tell me what have been your experiences as a line manager? So leading a team.
Where do I start? I mean, so many that it's impossible to just answer this very simply. I did line manage in my previous role as well, but it was a smaller team, and more, let's say, established, very, very senior, very independent. Yeah, there was not a lot of line management I was doing in a way. In the end, it was quite, they were going ahead themselves and doing a lot of things themselves. It didn't require a lot of guidance. In my current role, I am a line manager by design, so I do not have responsibilities in terms of project delivery, so the functional side. So my responsibility is my team and things that come around with it. So my experiences have been very diverse. So I have really learned a lot in the last year and a half. I have absolutely loved, my favorite part, if I can say, of the job is just the development type of conversation, and the fact that someone comes to you and tells you, oh, Zuzana, this was so helpful, how, when we talk about my development, it has really helped me so much. That's like the best part. Yeah. Or I recall one conversation with one of the guys in my team, and he shared something with me which was very personal, like this whatever it is we were talking about, it kind of resonates with this experience I have from my childhood. And I was thinking, wow, this is so amazing that he would trust me with that, So this people element is really probably my favorite part, if I can say, and I just love it, especially with the development and helping people to grow and be great and to be amazing. And there have been some difficult situations, definitely some difficult times, difficult conversations that I had to have, and difficult feedbacks to be given, etc. So that was also an element that I have learned with, for sure. Yeah.
Wow. And what skill set do you think you need in your eyes that makes a good line manager or great line manager?
Great line manager for me is someone who is themselves, for sure, who is not, pretending to be something they're not, and who really cares about the people. who really cares about the people. If I look back, on my experience and some of the memorable moments with my line managers, both the good and not so good, on the best ones, they are these little things, very little things that I recall. I was sick, yeah, and my line manager at the time called me and just, how are you doing? And like, yeah, I'm sick and I need to stay home for another week or whatever. Yeah, don't worry, we take care of everything. And for me, it was like, wow, this is so amazing. So it's these little things that people really care. So show their human side, apart from the professional. That's what I would say.
No, it's good because we've all had good and bad managers, I guess. So it's just recognizing what is good and bad for when you yourself become a manager. So thanks for sharing your experiences. But thank you so much, Zuza, for coming on this podcast. It's been such a pleasure. It's been really good speaking to you.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening to the Fearless Females Voice podcast. Be sure to complete the free Fearless test where you can discover how to increase your confidence, build your resilience and self-love. You can find this test on my website, which is www.fearlessfemales.me. And to connect with other like-minded females, make sure you join our Facebook group, which is called Fearless Females. Oh, and one last thing. I'd like you to do a massive favor for me. If you enjoyed this episode, then be sure to leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Thank you.